All right, let's move on to the NL Central, and let's talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates. We got a lot of fun teams in this one today. We're talking about some of the teams that could be seen as bottom teams, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are a very interesting one because they did make some additions this year. It's something we have not seen in quite some time. But now there's this big question on, will the major subtraction actually happen all offseason long? I mean, I think we've heard it even before the offseason started. Bryan Reynolds says he wants out. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. It seems like we've seen many other trades happen this season. We've seen a whole bunch of free agents move. There are still people who would love to have a Bryan Reynolds on their squad, but it has yet to happen. I guess the price they're asking, I have heard is that it is in the range of a Juan Soto type deal for Bryan Reynolds. Now, he does have some pretty interesting numbers. It's not Juan Soto numbers, but he does have some that could back that up. Pittsburgh obviously is asking a little too much in that case, and that's why he's still sitting around. I'm interested if he's going to be 100% ready to be a Pittsburgh Pirate, and that's why I started looking around. Will he be ready? Well, that's exactly what he quoted earlier on as soon as spring training started. He quotes, "I'm always going to be where my feet are at." He said, "I'm here right now, so I'm locked in 100% Pirates, whatever that takes." That sounds like kind of a walk around to saying, hey, I'm going to be a professional while I'm here. It still sounds like he wants out, though, Sean. Read the tea leaves. What do you think?
Once again, Enrique Hernandez, pay attention. That's exactly what you say. Like, come on. Anyway, it's an interesting story, right? Because of the request for a trade or however that played out. We know they've been trying to trade him all winter, clearly asking for too much. I'm surprised, in all honesty, I'm surprised they didn't find a taker, given just how many trades happened and the cost for a hitter like Bryan Reynolds. But there he is, still in Pittsburgh, ready to be a Pirate. Good for him. I don't think this is going to be tough. I don't think he gets traded during spring training, maybe at the trade deadline. But even then, I think, and somebody who's watching out there, hit me up on Twitter at DoyleJFTC or in the comment section of this video. I'm pretty sure I read within the last couple of days that the Pirates were even, exploring an extension. So I don't think he gets traded. However, Pittsburgh is going to have to do a lot of convincing, I think, to get him to sign on that dotted line, because they're starting to head to the right direction, but they're not there yet. And Bryan Reynolds, looking at 28 years old, he'll be a free agent in 2026. So they still have time with him, time to impress him, time to move forward in the right direction. And so maybe, just maybe, he could stay put in Pittsburgh, and all of this was a Shakespeare Much Ado About Nothing.
After so many years of trading your great players for prospects and just keep building and building and building and getting jokes saying that Pittsburgh is the AAA team of the Yankees or AAA team of whatever. I mean, how many times have we've heard that conversation? An extension for Bryan Reynolds would change that narrative, at least for this season. We've already seen them making some free agent deals. I would think completely different against this Pittsburgh Pirates organization if that extension happened, especially if it took away some of their arbitration numbers and moved into some free agent years. He was quoted that says his number one priority would be to sign an extension in Pittsburgh, but I want that to be a fair deal for both sides. Not a crazy player, not a crazy team deal. That has always been my number one priority. Interesting. I think that is very interesting. I think Bryan Reynolds would be fantastic if he stayed in Pittsburgh for the rest of his career. I would love it. What I find interesting as well is if he does stay, it will complete the Andrew McCutchen circle, because he was traded in the Andrew McCutchen trade. He was brought over to Pittsburgh when Andrew McCutchen was traded to San Francisco. Now Andrew McCutchen's back. They both get to play on the same team. I mean, McCutchen's not the same player that he used to be. That's obviously going to help fill the stands a little bit, and hopefully to see Bryan Reynolds do fantastic, maybe get him back to an all-star game for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Sean.
Oh yeah, he'll be an all-star. Simply, by process of elimination, I think on that Pirates team. However, I would also I want to get back to this extension because that's what's fascinating to me with this whole Bryan Reynolds thing is they're on the precipice here of making a decision either way, to trade him, to maybe take less than they would hoped, or extend him, and those are two very opposite ends of that spectrum, right? It'll be interesting though because Pittsburgh is not traditionally one of those big spending teams, and it could take quite a bit to convince Bryan Reynolds to not test free agency. So maybe that will be the indicator if he is traded. Maybe there just wasn't an extension that both sides could be happy with. And if he doesn't get traded, is it because an extension is in the horizons? It's just a fascinating storyline. But regardless, the Pirates have a gem here, and you know what? Maybe I can't really blame them for asking for the moon, because if you're gonna get rid of a Bryan Reynolds, you better make sure that return is going to set you up for quite a few years.
Yeah, 27 home runs last year, 24 in 2021 when he hit 302 and was an all-star in 2021. The last two seasons have been immaculate for Bryan Reynolds. One last question here, and I know it's kind of rounding it all together, but can you see Pittsburgh actually giving Bryan Reynolds a big-time extension to keep him in Pittsburgh for the foreseeable future? The Pittsburgh Pirates, this is the team I'm talking about here, the team that we have not seen do an extension for money in a very long time. They usually trade their expiring contracts away. Bryan Reynolds, is he the game changer for this organization?
Is he the game changer? Sure. Will he be the one who changes the narrative about their spending? It's tough to see. It's tough to see that Pittsburgh is going to cough up. We're looking at a 28-year-old who will be a free agent in 2026. So he'll be 31. It could take an extra 4 years past past that free agent mark. It could take maybe 5 years. I want them to extend him. I so badly want the Pirates to extend Bryan Reynolds for the fans of Pittsburgh, so they get to keep one of their stars. I would be surprised if they cough up the 9 figures that it'll take. So if you put a gun to my head, am I making a decision? I don't see him being extended. However, I want so badly to be wrong.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. I got to see it to believe it. Until then, the Pirates will still be the Pirates in my mind.